annual town hall for the at-large city council race hosted by the Beachmont VFW and Revere TV. Thank you all the candidates for coming, all the viewers at home, and all the people that are here watching. At the beginning, we're going to introduce the candidates. First, we have Stephen Damiano Jr. We have Bob Haas III sitting next to him. Juan Jaramillo next to him. We have Michelle Kelly on Zoom. We got Don Martelli next. Anthony Parziali. Alexander Alimi. Current Councillor at Large Mark Silvestri. And current Councillor at Large Tony Zambuto. We're going to give them each a brief moment to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Stephen Damiano Jr.
Thank you. Thank you to Revere TV and the Beachmont VFW 6712 for hosting us here tonight. With so many new faces in this race, it's really great to have the opportunity to just let the community get to know us a little bit. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished members of our community and fellow Revere residents, for those of you that don't know my name, I'm Stephen Damiano Jr. It is with a great sense of purpose that I stand before you today. I'm humbly asking for your support for Revere Councillor at Large. It is both an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to serve this vibrant community. Over the next few minutes, I want to share with you the vision and the commitment that drives my decision to seek office. Revere is not just a city north of Boston. It is a community of hard-working, diverse individuals that have shaped our community. It is where neighbors become friends. It is where friends become family. It's where families can prosper. I'm sorry.
10 seconds.
Okay. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to embark on this journey of service with all of you. Together we can make Revere an even better place for all. Thank you.
Next up, we'll have Bob Haas III.
Good evening. My name is Robert J. Haas III. I reside on Fenley Street with my wife Nancy, our son RJ, who will turn 5 on Election Day, and our daughter Lenny. I am currently employed as the Assistant Director of Elder Affairs here in Revere, where I've worked for nearly 3 years. Before my time at the Senior Center, I worked as a custodian for the Revere Public School Department for 13 years. I am a 1996 graduate of Revere High School, and I graduated from Salem State College in 2000 with a degree in communications. If elected, I plan to work to expand the use of city gyms, fields, and empty spaces to benefit our residents' quality of life. Improve outreach efforts, which would see all flyers and newsletters translated and distributed more efficiently. And focus on additional senior services such as food delivery, transportation services, housing, mental health, and landscaping and snow removal. Welcoming, hardworking, great heart, kind, true, has integrity, a chip off the old block, an asset at bringing the city together. These are not my words. These are the words of the voters of this great city. Thank you for this opportunity tonight.
Juan Jaramillo.
Good evening, Revere. My name is Juan Jaramillo, and I'm the proud resident of Revere and a proud product of our public schools. I graduated from our schools, which I went through K through 12, and I graduated in the class of 2012. And I am who I am today because of the residents here and at home who invested in me. Through your tax dollars, you put me through school in our public education system. You supported me in our Little League teams. And now, and for a long time, I've been able to give back. As a youth leader down the Shirley Ave neighborhood, as a Pop Warner football coach, as a former State House staffer that helped deliver critical funding for our residents. I am the experienced and trusted leadership we need, and I'm rooted right here in Revere. Homegrown talent that you guys all have a part in. I'm deeply humbled to be in this position today, to be able to ask for your vote, to fight and work for your vote. As a union member and a father and a homeowner here in the city, I'm going to be fighting for you, using my experience and the trust that Revere voters have given me in the preliminary and hopefully in the general to continue to deliver for working families. I'm the 5th name on the ballot, and I humbly ask for your vote this Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you.
Next up is Michelle Kelly.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michelle Kelly. Thank you to Revere TV and the Beachmont VFW for accommodating me tonight via Zoom because I contracted COVID and I am quarantining. And also thank you to everyone attending in person and everyone watching at home. I'm here for the same reason you are, because I love this city. I was born here, lived here my whole life. I'm the granddaughter of immigrants, worked here, and I've owned a home here since 1997. And just like you, I want change. I got involved because I felt like power and control no longer resided with the people of Revere. I got involved because I want transparency, accountability, and responsiveness from our local government. I want sweetheart deals for out-of-town developers to stop. It seems like there are 2 sets of rules, and I need that to change. I'm brand new to politics, but announced my campaign in May because I was tired of what I was seeing and hearing, and my neighbors were too. And because of that, I want to bring a neighborhood watch approach to City Hall. I attended Revere Public Schools, worked my way through college as the daughter of a union shop steward, and then worked my way through law school, the first in my family to do so. That's exactly the type of work ethic that I will bring to City Hall. I'm proud to have been endorsed by 8 major labor unions, but I am not in favor of further overdevelopment of our city. I'm also proud to have been endorsed by Ward 6 City Councilor Ricky Serino, but I did not solicit political endorsements, mainly because in many ways I'm taking on the political establishment. And at the end of the day, the only endorsement I really want is yours. I'm an attorney, so being an advocate comes naturally to me, and I will be your advocate
10
at City
seconds.
Hall. That means first and foremost listening to you, taking your interests and your ideas and turning them into action. I'm happy to be here tonight, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you.
Next up is Don Martelli.
Good evening, everyone. Don Martelli, candidate for council at large. I'm a former reporter for the Boston Globe, where I covered business and politics for the paper for about 5 years. Since those days, I've worked in marketing and public relations, working with the likes of Home Depot, McDonald's, Boston University, Northeast University. My role is to help solve very complex business challenges for companies around the world. I'm currently the president and partner of the Belfour Group, one of the most successful public relations and marketing firms in Boston, where I manage about 30 employees and millions of dollars in budget around those campaigns. When I think about this job, I think about it as running a business. And if you are the hiring manager, you have 5 jobs, 5 positions to hire. If you think about the very talented people up at this stage right now, who are the 5 people you want in those seats to run the city like a business? Because you are the clients. You demand that things get done. There's no rhetoric, no politics, no BS. I'm a common sense kind of guy that just wants to get the work done. Thank you.
Next up is Anthony Parziale.
Thanks, hon. Anthony Parziale, 51 Arcadia Street. Get your pens out. My cell phone number is 617-388-6370. That's 617-388-6370. I give out my cell phone to every resident I meet for 2 reasons. 1, so you can get me on the phone when you need something. Number 2, something my father taught me and my brothers when we were growing up is if you want to get to know people, you offer to help people. So if you need a hand with something, you give me a call and I'll be there for you. Anytime, I don't care if it's 4 in the morning, like the DPW just called me at 4 in the morning the other day. I got the call and I went in and I helped out my buddy Saber who's dying of flooded. I stepped right up. Anytime you want to call me, you call me. I'm here for you. That's the only reason I'm here. I'm here for the people. I don't care who you guys elect for mayor. I don't care who you guys vote for city council. You vote for me, and I will make sure that we have a fair, transparent, accountable government. Fair government for the people. If it doesn't make sense for our city, get it out of here. If it doesn't hold people accountable, we don't want it. And if it's not transparent, if it's not easy for you to understand, forget about it. Putting the people first, always. Revere first.
Next up, we have Alex Rolimi.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for Revere TV. Thank you for the Beachmont VFW for hosting this. Thank you for in-person resident that's here, and thank you for the people that are viewing me today. Thank you. My name is Alex Rolimi, first-time candidate for seat for Council at Large and a former candidate for Suffolk County Sheriff in 2016. I live in Ward 2 with my wife Sophia and 2 boys. I have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree of criminal justice from Boston University. I'm currently the principal of Alliance Financial Group, specializing in retirees and pre-retirees and senior planning. Revere is going to make history on November 7th. I will be the first Moroccan American getting elected out of the city of Revere and in the United States ever to any public office, and we should be proud of that. My issues, I'm going to tackle them actually in depth on next segment, but I'm more for public safety for Revere. We've seen too many shootings every summer, and we need to be proactive than reactive. I'm all for seniors. Our seniors are my priority. Due to door knocking, I met a lot of seniors. They're getting outplaced out of our city, which they grow up in, and they call it home. They've been priced out because they live on a fixed income. We need to take care of our seniors. That's a priority, and I really love them. Also, the high school, we need someone that tackles fiscal responsibility. Fiscal responsibility is top of mind for me as a financial advisor. So I need to be mindful of budget and making sure we get so many bids so we don't outplace our seniors and people on fixed income in our city of Revere. Thank you.
Next up, Mark Silvestri.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank the VFW, the moderators, and all of you for being here with us tonight. It's an honor and a privilege. My name is Mark Silvestri, and I'm running for re-election for the Revere City Council. I was born and raised right here in Beachmont to a working-class family, just like many of you. I'm a graduate of 1997 Revere High School, where I was a 3-sport captain, and I went on to play football at American International College until family problems led me into working. I joined the labor union, and then I went on to lead a team in the United States Army. As a former team leader, I know firsthand the importance of leadership, accountability, and showing up with selfless service. When I came home, things weren't okay. I was in a very dark place. I knew I needed help, and I reached out. When I got it, I went back to school. I got my degree, and I got some advice from a career counselor. He said, join a campaign, and that's what I did. I got involved in politics. I learned that I was pretty good when doing so. In doing so, I then became the Veteran Service Officer for the City of Revere, where I was proudly serving and still serve the people and the veterans of our community. I give an honor and a privilege of being here with you tonight, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Tony Zambuto.
Hi, everybody. Unfortunately, I have no voice tonight. Thanks, Ira. Appreciate that. I didn't want to not show up, so I came here with no voice. People know what I'm about. I'm about the truth. I'm not the most popular guy on the council. because I tell the truth. If a city councilor tells you the truth, cares about you, tells you what you want to hear, cares about themselves. I always tell the truth. I have a lot of accomplishments. I've been here many years. I'm not going to talk about my accomplishments. There's 3 things I want to talk about. Got a lot of talented people running for office here. I have common sense, fiscal responsibility, and the experience to guide these new people. So please, second name on the ballot, Anthony Zambuto. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now we'll begin the question and answer period. Names will be pulled out of this jug, and questions will be asked as they come up. Mark Silvestri gets the first question. Mark, if you could come to the podium, please. These questions were submitted by voters all over Revere. Given the setbacks in the new RHS project, what will you do to ensure that the project continues to move forward in a way that puts the needs of students first?
Great question. And I have been, and I will be unapologetic on my stance for Revere High School. I believe the location of the new high school, and I believe that for the best learning opportunities for our students aren't always the cheapest. But we learned last night that on the existing site, the cost of the high school will be $30 to $40 million more than what we accounted for. I know a lot of people are worried about their tax dollars and being spent irresponsibility. I understand having fiscal responsibility, but a new high school is an investment and an opportunity for the future of our city. It will provide a foundation and development of the kids of this city, and that we will lead them into the world, and that should not be taken lightly. The new high school is an investment and an opportunity for the future of our city. It will provide a foundation and a development that we can't. The new high school is an investment and an opportunity for the future of our city. It will provide a foundation and development for the kids that we send off into the world. People who live in our city deserve a top-notch education, and anybody living in our city who are regarding in that light, it needs to be a priority for us. As they mentioned last night, there needs to be some untangling on the RHS project. We need the community to put in some input, but most of all, the people living in that neighborhood who've lived there for decades, paid their taxes for years, deserve to live their oldest years happy. They don't deserve to live in a work site. They don't need a work site living for 7 to 10 years. We heard that last night. The fields will not be complete till 2030. If you live in that neighborhood, would you want that to be yours? Thank you and have a good night.
Don Martelli, and I'll read the question again. Given the setbacks in the new RHS project, what will you do to ensure that the project continues to move forward in a way that puts the needs of students first?
Yeah, so when I think about the question, as a former reporter, framing of a question is a big thing. When I think about the needs of the students, and that's what this is all about, right? This is about educating our students and up to standards, advanced building that allows them to learn, foster relationships, and get the education they need to move forward. So whether it's at the existing location or in the land, it's got to be built one way or the other. The issue I have generally is, like my colleagues will probably say, fiscal responsibility, density is a big issue, traffic is another issue, and I think of the kids that go to the school at that particular time, one location or the other, we have to overcompensate for the things that we need to provide them to make sure that that experience maintains, meaning construction updates, mentoring after school programs, making sure that we work with other surrounding towns on field ability, because my young daughter who plays field hockey, I can't imagine not having fields available for her to play field hockey. I would be devastated as a parent. This is a very difficult issue that we have to tackle. I think it takes communication, a little bit of resilience, communication between us on the council, the administration, and the parents and the students to figure out how the heck do we get this done in a way that's the most fiscally responsible and it's not going to set us back for years to come, because the kids are going to have a difficult situation as they go through the school as it's being built one way or the other. And we have to make sure we overcompensate them because the kids are going to be the ones that will have the after effect. And the neighborhood is also going to be impacted as well. So overcompensating for them in some way, shape, or form to make sure that they are taken care of, regardless of if we're talking about eminent domain or traffic. We have to be communicative, and we also have to make sure we're educating the community about what this is going to do for our community, both financially as well as from an academic standpoint. Thank you.
Stephen Demiano Jr., and I'll read the question again. Given the setbacks in the new RHS project, what will you do to ensure that the project continues to move forward in a way that puts the needs of students first?
Thank you. Well, the first order of business is whoever is on the council in January, we need to get together and we need to have a meeting, open meeting, closed meeting, whatever. We need a meeting and we need to make a decision. We need to jump in and move forward. These kids need a new school. It's not new news. I am in favor of keeping it at the existing location. I don't want to send my kids across that highway to get to school. There is no current plan to provide a safe access point. There's no plans for a footbridge to cross. Right now, the kids that get across, it's bad enough as it is. It's just going to get worse. We have plenty of recreational space in this city already existing. We have parks big enough to be varsity-sized fields. We have plenty of space. We have a gorgeous stadium. There's no reason why we can't facilitate for the greater good. And that greater good is a brand new state-of-the-art high school that's going to serve us for years to come. My strategy involves collaborating with the different departments to make sure everything meets its necessary standards. And we don't want to prevent any studies, or we don't want to prevent any learning. So we got to really make sure that these kids aren't disrupted if it does go with the current location. And we just have to pay attention. We have to work closely with the builders, and we just have to stay sharp. This type of proactive approach will ensure an efficient progress towards our common goals. Thank you.
All right, now we'll go to the next question. Alex Relimi, please, and I will read the question when you get to the podium. Why aren't sports program flyers passed out at schools anymore? We have many great programs available to city residents, but with nothing handed out to the students, many of these opportunities fall by the wayside, as parents may not have the time or wherewithal to find a webpage with the information listed. What solutions can you propose?
Great question. Thank you. The distribution of sport program flyers to school may have declined to the shift of communication methods and concerns about paper waste. However, it is essential to ensure that opportunities for student participation in sport and other programs are easily accessible to parents. As a council at large, I can propose to create digital flyers and brochures that are shareable via email, social media, and school websites. These digital material can include information about various sport programs, schedule registrations, detail, and contact information. Ensure that all relevant information about sport program to readily available to school websites. This can be a form of dedicated pages or links at the city websites and also recreation department websites. I will also implement an email notification system where parents and guardians can subscribe and receive updates about upcoming sport program and events. This will allow for direct communication without paper waste. We should work with the school departments to reintroduce limited print distribution of flyers for sport program, but emphasize the importance of sustainable and eco-friendly practices. And that's what we need at the City of Revere. Thank you. Thank you.
Juan Jaramillo. Why aren't sports program flyers passed out at schools anymore? We have many great programs available to city residents, but with nothing handed out to the students, many of these opportunities fall by the wayside, as parents may not have the time or wherewithal to find a web page with the information listed. What solutions can you propose?
Good evening again. And since I last saw up here, my wife and my one-year-old are here. So if you see me smiling and saying hello, it's because he's looking straight at me and is apparently entertained at the time. But speaking about my son, this is an issue about accessibility. My entire career has been about accessibility. It's not just about getting the information out, but getting it out in ways that is multimodal for everybody in the city. There's no singular way which we can reach parents or community members. We have to be intentional every time we're putting not just sports programming together, but city programming together. I'm very glad that you guys are all here and those of us watching at home are watching. But I'm sure that if we were more intentional in our city programming, we could have even more people in this room and even more people watching. We have to make sure that we're implementing strategies that include language access, disability access, for folks who aren't, who may not have a singular place of home, but reside in the general Revere area and commune in the general Revere area. We have to think about important strategies to target those folks so we can bring them into the community. That's stuff I've already done. And as it relates to the sustainability of those programs, we have to be intentional. The City Council has to be intentional about grappling with the very fact that we have more than one language that's spoken here. School programming has to grapple with the same thing. Folks are working hours that are not regular 9 to 5, and we have to find the strategies to address that and to include those folks. I know how to get that done.
Thank you, Juan.
The council can do that, and I look forward to being able to deliver that.
Michelle Kelly, and Michelle, I'll read the question again. Why aren't sports program flyers passed out at schools anymore? We have many great programs available to city residents, but with nothing handed out to the students, many of these opportunities fall by the wayside, as parents may not have the time or wherewithal to find a website with the information listed. What solutions can you propose?
Thank you. This is an excellent question because it speaks to community involvement. And sports is an excellent way for kids to have an outlet, to be part of a team, and to learn so many vital social skills that will be imperative in their future successes. And it's another example of why I'm running. It speaks to what I'm always talking about, which is bringing awareness of the issues to the community. This is a perfect example of something that needs to be changed and acted upon, improved upon. I know that we have wonderful programs in the city, but we need to make sure everyone can find out about them easily, or really, what good are they? Surely this is an issue that can be easily confronted and dealt with. Off the top of my head, I can think of collaborating with different sport committees in the city, coming up with a monthly newsletter, a bulletin, something that could be snail mailed out, advertised each month in the local papers, possibly even robocalls going out. Of course, electronically, emails, and on social media. There's a plethora of things that we can do. We could possibly create a specific committee of volunteers who could head this up, spearhead it, be in charge of it, bring this information into an easily and concise format so that everyone can find it easily accessible. In addition, we could enhance the Revere.org website. I believe it needs to be much more user-friendly, maybe have just a page of its own that only deals with sports schedules and the like, making it much easier for parents, caregivers, grandparents to have a central focal point to go and to get information easily. A central focal point is key. On Facebook, there are probably 100 Facebook pages that deal with Revere, and we really need to get them all to be concise so that people can go to one place and get all the information they need.
Thank you, Michelle. Anthony Parziali, and I will read the next question. The Revere that I grew up in was a melting pot city that abounded with communities in every corner. Whether you were hanging on the Ave, rolling through the Pines, or chilling in Oak Island, there were always friendly eyes making sure that things were okay. When I got home, my parents always knew what I had done and where I had been. How do we bring the sense of neighborhood back?
I feel like I already answered that. I give out everybody my cell phone number. I am the neighborhood guy. My campaign has been all about bringing people together, and the way I'm bringing people together is by actually bringing people together. Going door to door, asking them if they need help, actually helping them. But seniors, helping them remove items, even though it's not my job to take it for them. I take it for them. I take it for nothing because they can't get it out. I'm trying to bring back the values that my father instilled in me and my 4 brothers. Could you imagine if Mrs. Layton, who used to live across the street from me, was carrying her groceries? My father would put his foot so far up my butt if I didn't get out there to go help her. It's insane. So to bring the communities back together, it's very simple. You need to just do it. You need to go to your neighbor's house and you say, hey, how are you doing? How's things? I'm having a barbecue. Why don't you come over? You need to lead by example. Meet people, greet people, welcome to your community. Whether they speak English or not, go up to them, try to learn. Mucho gusto. ¿Cómo está? It's pretty simple to learn a few words and phrases to get to meet these people and to bring everybody together. The way we do it is by actually doing it. Give people your number. Give people your address. Tell them where you live. Offer them help. That way you will bring the community back together. Thanks.
Robert Haas III, and I will read the question again. The Revere that I grew up in was a melting pot city that abounded with communities in every corner. Whether you were hanging on the Ave, rolling through the Pines, or chilling in Oak Island, there were always friendly eyes making sure things were okay. When I got home, my parents always knew what I had done and where I had been. How do we bring back that sense of neighborhood?
Years ago when I was a kid, I came home after riding my bike one day, and we all crossed the highway. We weren't supposed to cross the highway. Kids 8 years old, 9 years old, flying across the highway to go to McDonald's, then to Central Cycle, the bike shop across the highway. When I got home, my mom said, "Why'd you cross the highway?" Because one of her friends had called her and said she saw Bobby crossing the highway with her friends. So that's some of the small town feel that parents, they like to feel safe, like their kids are always watched while they're out on the streets. And I still believe that there is that small town feel that I see when my wife Nancy and I take our kids, RJ and Lenny, to rec events. Things like that still have that small town feel where parents are watching out for the other kids. And it's nice to know that your kids are okay if they're out of your sight for a minute. We need to attract more families to get involved with the community events so that they feel that same way and that they feel they are a part of that small town feel in a large city. And again, that can be an outreach issue to get more families involved. That's why I always say with outreach, our newsletters should be translated. I work at the senior center now where we translate all our newsletters into Spanish, Arabic, and now Portuguese. So we have to make all these families feel welcome and that their kids, and that they know that their kids are safe out on the streets. Thank you.
Tony Zambuto. The Revere that I grew up in was a melting pot city that abounded with communities on every corner. Whether you were hanging on the Ave, rolling through the Pines, or chilling in Oak Island, there were always friendly eyes making sure that things were okay. When I got home, my parents always knew what I had done and where I had been. How do we bring that sense of neighborhood back?
So the guy with no voice is going to try to explain this, but I like what both of my colleagues, my friends, said about what to do, but I like to believe that the truth is we're never going to really get back to those days, but what we can do is love thy neighbor. Those of us that have a strong faith know that's what it's all about, and looking out for each other, looking out for each other's kids. And Bob has talked about how the phone calls come in when we used to do things that were, maybe not appropriate, and we can get back to some of that, but we're many years away from those days, and it starts with basic caring about people. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we will proceed to the second round of questions. Anthony Parziali. How can city government best support the community? How do you define your role and responsibilities?
24-hour-a-day job. My job as a city councilor when I'm elected is to represent the people of this city 24 hours a day and at all levels. I represent you at the local level. If you have a problem with the state, I represent you at the state level. If you have a problem with the federal government, I represent you at the federal government. How does that work? I'm your first line of defense. I have an easier chance as an elected official to get in touch with Jessica Giannino or Jeffrey Turco or Lydia Edwards. I have an easier chance of getting in touch with our congresswoman. I have an easier chance of getting in touch with our senators. I have an easier chance of getting in touch with our governor. And trust me, I will get in touch with them for you. I will fight tooth and nail 24 hours a day for you. The job is listening to your wants and needs and putting your needs ahead of the city's needs. By that I mean the city government. The government doesn't work for itself. The government works for the people, and it's my job to ensure that you have a seat at the table and that you get heard and that you get taken care of. Quite simply, putting the people first always.
Alex Rolimi. How can city government best support the community? How do you define your role and responsibilities?
Thank you. City government can be best support the community by fulfilling its core functions effectively, fostering transparency and engaging with the public to understand their needs and concerns. The city government primary responsibility is to ensure the delivery of essential services such as public safety, fire, police, to ensure the delivery of education and transportation and infrastructure maintenance. As your city council at large, I can support these functions by advocating for adequate funding and resources to maintain and improve these services. On the other hand, promoting economic development is crucial for our strong and thriving Revere. The city can attract businesses, create job opportunities, and support small businesses. As your city council at large, I can play a role of facilitating economic growth by supporting policies that encourage investment and job creation. Encouraging public engagement is vital. The city government should provide opportunities for citizens to voice their concerns, opinions, and ideas. I can facilitate public forums, town hall meetings, and other avenues to the community so they can participate in decision making. Maintaining fiscal responsibility is essential to ensure that our city can provide services. As city council at large, I'll be involved in budget decisions, advocating for prudent financial management. City government should be transparent about its actions, decisions, and expenses.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you very much.
Mark Silvestri. How can city government best support the community? How do you define your role and responsibilities?
Well, as a city councilor, my primary responsibility is to establish policy, approve the city's budget, and to provide direction to the mayor by identifying key initiatives. But it's much more than that. In my experience, it's the moments you spent one-on-one with residents, when you're looking someone in the eye and they're asking you how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to feed their family. That's the key element to this job. And that's how a good city councilor makes his living. One-on-one with the people of the city. It's what it comes down to. Going to meet the people, seeing what they need, and doing your best to give it to them. What I've learned in the past 2 years, things don't come easy, they don't come fast. But I can promise you, as your city councilor, I will continue to answer the phone, show up, and do my job the best of my ability to make the city a better place for us all to live. Thank you.
Don Martelli. Car insurance rates have begun to skyrocket in Revere. There is more traffic, more accidents, and more speeding. The speed tables do a good job of momentarily halting speeders, but most will continue to speed after they leave the speed table. How will you work with local law enforcement to curb the erratic driving in Revere?
As a father who just had 2 daughters get their licenses, I absolutely understand where this question is coming from because it absolutely freaks me out. So I think speed tables are important, signaling is important, but communication between law enforcement, the administration, the city council, and understanding pinch points of the city. I live on Dale Street, and my car, over a course of a 3-month period, got sideswiped every weekend in a row. I went in front of the traffic commission and I said, I can always replace my car, but I can't replace my kids. Do something about the speeding down the street. Got together with some of the councilors at the time, had a series of conversations and meetings. They looked at the street, they looked at the traffic coming down Park Ave, just bombing down Dale Street. They came up with now what they call Martelli Island at the top of Dale Street. And it absolutely curbs people from doing 60 miles an hour down my street. So it's creativity, it's communication, it's a little diligence, and frankly, in the immortal words of Guns N' Roses, a little patience, because we can't change people's behavior, but we can influence how they act in the community. So, speed tables, having cops at particular pinch points, so we are, radaring and gunning, if you will, to make sure we're giving out tickets if we have to, but communication, creativity, a little bit of patience, and I think that I've seen firsthand the speed tables and the island end of my street has curbed some of this traffic, but it's hard to police that when you have people coming north and south that just want to cut through the city. So again, creativity, good communication, good planning, and diligence, and a little patience. Thank you.
Juan Jaramillo. Car insurance rates have begun to skyrocket in Revere. There is more traffic, more accidents, and more speeding. The speed tables do a good job of momentarily halting speeders, but most will continue to speed after they leave the speed table. How will you work with local law enforcement to curb the erratic driving in Revere?
Thank you for that question. Very important. So I'm a little bit of a policy nerd, and so traffic policy is one of those things that it's not a necessarily sexy thing, but when I worked as the Chief Administrative Officer in the City of Lawrence as an interim there, we did quite a bit of programming that expanded traffic calming measures. From something as simple as temporary speed bumps that went out during the summer in neighborhoods around the city, to painting on the streets as a traffic cooling measure, which has worked, and the data backs it. I know exactly how to get this stuff done. We have to also make sure that we're using the best technology and data available so that we can move people around of our city, work with our state delegation, our regional partners, cities from Malden to Boston, to ensure that we're moving folks around the city of Revere. We can only do that if we have a city government here in Revere that's willing to have those relationships, not just in the city with law enforcement and public safety, but around the city, because we don't live in a vacuum. Having worked in the State House where I worked with Republicans, Democrats, Independents alike, and having delivered key pieces of legislation, I know how to get that work done. I'm ready to roll my sleeves and get that work done so that we have a better quality of life. It's one of my priorities, and I look forward to delivering on those promises. Thank you.
Michelle Kelly. Car insurance rates have begun to skyrocket in Revere. There's more traffic, more accidents, and more speeding. The speed tables do a good job of momentarily halting speeders, but most will continue to speed after they leave the speed table. How will you work with local law enforcement to curb the erratic driving in Revere?
Thank you. This is a very important issue and it's actually a big part of the reason why I'm running. It's to bring about change regarding important issues like this, like safety issues. We need to bring about awareness of the seriousness of these issues to residents. I think that's the first thing that needs to be done. We've grown exponentially over the last 8 to 10 years. We've increased in population, which brings an increase in traffic and congestion. Our roadways are congested, which creates creates frustration. We have increased the number of speed tables throughout the city to try to mitigate some of this, but as mentioned in the question, drivers just speed up again as soon as they move past them, so they're not really doing as much as we would like. I believe in order to see a meaningful change in this very important safety issue, we have to have more enforcement and an increase in police visibility. This may not be popular, but I can remember a time when we did have speed traps throughout the city. They were prevalent, and you didn't know exactly when or exactly where, but you knew if you were driving over the speed limit, most likely you were going to get a ticket. The odds were you were going to get a ticket. There was a good chance of that, and it's simply not the case today. So I know that we're lacking in police resources, which doesn't quite make sense to me either, considering the fact that our population has grown exponentially so quickly. And we need to have more foresight. If we're increasing our population, we must also be increasing our resources, such as police, fire, human services, and the like. I believe an increase in enforcement may be the only effective way to mitigate this issue. Also, if people are getting tickets or, speeding tickets or even driving to endanger, that will hike up their individual policy insurance
Thank you,
rates.
Michelle.
That will act as a deterrent. Thank you.
Anthony Zambuto. Since the pandemic began, the lives of our youth have changed irrevocably. Whether it has been the lack of community socialization, the uptick in social media usage, the lack of parental supervision, or other societal changes, we have seen an uptick in youth violence in our city. Some examples are the rampant theft at Walgreens that has turned the store into a barren wasteland at times, the frightening attack on the attendant at the gas station on Broadway in July, or the seemingly yearly shooting that occurs at the beginning of the summer on Revere Beach. These incidents are growing and not dissipating. I know we cannot pinpoint the issues as being caused by Revere residents, but we are all affected by a face of crime that is becoming more youthful by the day. What plans do you have in place to deal with this issue before our children become desensitized to the violence surrounding them or become a victim of it?
This is I wish I had a voice so I could talk for a period of time on this, but this gets back to basic values again. And, I'm on a lot of nonprofit boards. I'm on the Salesian Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors, and we mentor kids, and these kids were the least affected by the pandemic because they were always there, and they had a foundation. This is what it takes. It takes hard work. It takes people that are committed to teach family values and to teach the quality of a human life. Unfortunately, it's been lost, and part of it's the social media. A lot of it's the video games, and people just don't. They can't separate. Especially kids cannot separate the fact from fiction. It's a scary thing, but it takes serious work by people that are really committed to help. Thank you.
Robert Haas III. Since the pandemic began, the lives of our youth have changed irrevocably. Whether it has been the lack of communal socialization, the uptick in social media usage, the lack of parental supervision, or other societal changes, we've seen an uptick in youth violence in our city. Some examples are the rampant theft at Walgreens that has turned the store into a barren wasteland at times, the frightening attack on the attendant at the gas station on Broadway in July, or the seemingly yearly shooting that occurs at the beginning of the summer on Revere Beach. These incidents are growing and not dissipating. I know we cannot pinpoint the issues as being caused by Revere residents, but we are all affected by a face of crime that is becoming more youthful by the day. What plans do you have in place to deal with the issue before our children become desensitized to the violence surrounding them or become a victim of it?
I think the number one thing is to get the gyms open to the residents. The city has a number of gyms with the school system. Excuse me. Gym should benefit our residents of all ages, whether it's a middle-aged man like myself shooting hoops, a senior walking the track, or a young mom pushing a baby in a stroller and watching her other child run around the gym with a couple of friends. Even this past Saturday, where it rained all day, all those kids were stuck at home with nowhere to go. There has to be somewhere for them to go, not just for physical activity, but for their mental well-being as well. Children who are kept busy are less likely to fall into bad habits. Isolation was a huge problem during the pandemic, for children, for seniors, for everyone. It is still a major issue during cold winter months. I would like to also see additional social workers to work with families. But the bottom line is we have to get those gyms open for our residents. Thank you.
Stephen Demiano Jr. Since the pandemic began, the lives of our youths have changed irrevocably. Whether it has been the lack of communal socialization, the uptick in social media usage, the lack of parental supervision, or other societal changes, we've seen an uptick in youth violence in our city. Some examples are the rampant theft at Walgreens that has turned the store into a barren wasteland at times, the frightening attack on the attendant at the gas station in Broadway in July, or the seemingly yearly shooting that occurs at the beginning of the summer on Revere Beach. These incidents are growing and not dissipating. I know we cannot pinpoint the issues as being caused by Revere residents, but we are all affected by a face of crime that is becoming more youthful by the day. What plans do you have in place to deal with the issue before our children become desensitized to the violence surrounding them or become a victim of it?
Thank you. COVID did a number on everyone, but especially our youth population. Kids are used to going to school, seeing their friends, being able to socialize and interact. When you take that away from them, they are in a dark, cold, vacant void, and they act out. They start acting violent, they start breaking laws. This is not acceptable for our youth. They turn to social media, apps, video games. I myself love to play video games. It's a wonderful outlet for a range of emotions. Video games have actually gained recognition by the FDA as a valid treatment for ADHD for children ages 8 to 12. I used to go home and play a video game at the end of my day after a hard day at school, and it was just relaxing. But that was a simpler time. These kids today, they're faced with many more emotional and social obstacles. I would propose that the city hires a fourth student resource officer. We have 3 very capable male officers currently. I propose, ideally, a female officer to add another avenue for these kids just to talk to somebody. The bottom line is, right now, kids don't have respect. And we need to just bring that back. So parents, just talk to your kids. Ask them how their day's going and find out what's bothering them. Because the next step is they're going to get in trouble. And when they get in trouble, it's just a slippery slope. Thank you.
The next question is for Juan Jaramillo. How does Revere move forward as a community on the rise while still keeping all of the small town appeal that makes our city great?
Real simple. Affordability. Thank you for that really important question. My campaign has been all about affordability. It has been about affordability for seniors who are getting priced out of their homes, their investments. It has been affordability for the families that have moved here and chosen to raise their families here. It's been affordability for the single people who work in Boston and who want to make this their home. We do this in a variety of different ways. Unfortunately, there's been opportunities to increase housing affordability on the council, and the council passed on it. There's also a chance for us to invest in our working class families. The price of child care in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is to the tune of $30,000 a year. And I don't know about you at home, but I don't have it for my 1-year-old. We need to expand to free and universal child care and early education for every family in the city of Revere. That's how we keep working families here. That's how we can continue to strengthen the communal bonds that make us the beautiful community that we are. We need to invest in Revere. It's time to invest in Revere. It's time to invest in you. Thank you.
Don Martelli. How does Revere move forward as a community on the rise while still keeping all of the small town appeal that makes our city great?
So I grew up in Somerville and Cambridge from about 1978 to 99. And I experienced what that was like, where we had a cobbler on this corner, which then turned into a Starbucks. We had my local barber shop turn into an apartment building, and you lost that sense of community. It was the people that kind of kept us connected, and the people and the relationships that kept us connected to that old town feel. But truth be told, Juan's right. It's affordability, it's programming, it's access, it's communication. It's the opportunity to have a dialogue with the community, from those that are 65 plus to those that have just moved into the city. I moved in 25 years ago, 23 years ago, and I'm still learning sort of the nooks and crannies of this community and trying to understand where we have been and where we are going. So I think it's important to understand where can we create pockets of affordability for folks. Outside of the price of gas and milk, and I'm fearful for my daughters graduate from college, and can they buy a home for $500,000, if not more? So I think we have to create programs, education, communication, and affordability on a number of levels for the future. But I think it still goes down to the willingness of the people to work together to come to common solutions. Thank you.
Mark Silvestri. How does Revere move forward as a community on the rise while still keeping all of the small town appeal that makes our city great?
Good question. I think we do a really good job at that. I really do. I think Revere still continues to have that small neighborhood community. I think of events like the Pumpkin Dash that brought in over 500 people. I think of Fall Festival on Broadway. I think of the neighborhoods that we go into and hold events. I think of all those things that we have. But the city's growing, and we can't go back from that. We can look forward. We can set a plan. And I think we heard it here a few times. The best way to keep that neighborhood feel is being neighborly, reaching out to someone, connecting with your neighbors, connecting with the youth, connecting with the elderly, our seniors, our veterans, making sure that they have what they need. Affordability is an answer, but I think we have to get creative with affordability. The standard affordability, it doesn't guarantee our residents get those units. But if we work in collaboration with developers like on Salem Street in North Revere, where they mandate that the affordable housing is going to Revere, if we work with developers and our nonprofit organizations to ensure that Revere residents are getting those units, then we can make that happen. I think we need to form a board with developers, the city council, the city planners, and come together with a palatable solution to affordability. The plan we came up with before, it wasn't a good plan. I wasn't there to vote on it actually, but it wasn't the best plan I think we could have put forward. I think we have an opportunity to sit together, come up with a strong affordable plan, and I think that's how we keep that feeling and keep people in their homes. Thank you.
Stephen Demiano Jr. Why do you want to be a councilor at large in Revere?
This is the easiest question for any of us, probably. I want to be a councilor for the city of Revere because my kids are here, my family's here, my friends are here, my neighbors are here. I want to protect our city. I want to safeguard our future so that we can all call this place home and be proud of it. The main thing in any city is the people living in it. And when they don't feel like things are getting done the way they want, when they feel like their voices are getting drowned out, when they feel like they don't matter, that's when we start to have these problems that we have here in Revere. I want to run for city councilor at large because I want to protect all of you. I also would like to see, my grandfather and my grandmother, they lived in Revere a very long time, and I still have a living grandmother here now. but the ones I'm talking about, they built their house. They came from nothing, and they provided us with a home. I want to see that protected. I don't want to see that go to the wayside. So when I'm asked why I want to run for city councilor at large, it's for my children, my family, and it's for all of you. Thank you.
Anthony Zambuto. Why do you want to be a councilor at large in Revere?
I'm going to try to come up with a voice for this one. Excuse me. Why do I want to continue to be a city councilor at large? Because I make a difference. That's why. I originally ran for this office many years ago. I ran on term limits. And I got there and I found out I make a difference. And the people agreed with me and they put me back there. I make a difference. I keep things on track. I know the rules. I know how to protect the taxpayer. Now I didn't get the high school question, which I wanted desperately. I saved the taxpayers $1 billion that would have come off the tax roll. That's what I do as a city councilor. I keep things in check here. I watch out for the taxpayer, and I want to continue to do that for the citizens of Revere. Thank you.
Anthony Pazziali. Why do you want to be a councilor at large in Revere?
For everybody watching and for everybody in the audience, for my daughter, for my little girl, for my wife, for my mother-in-law. I look in this room and the people watching, I see my mom, I see my dad, I see my brothers, I see my sisters, my nieces and my nephews. Everybody should have a seat at the table. I had an issue. I went before the council, nothing against any of the council members, and I was told that they can't help because there was a state law that was stopping me from doing it. And I persisted until I succeeded. I went at the council every Monday. I went after the mayor every single day for 2 months out in front of his office. I went after our state reps. I went after our congresswoman. I went after our senators. I went after the developer. I went after the attorney. Because they told me that what I wanted to do couldn't be done, and I never, ever want any resident in this city to come before the council and be told there's nothing they can do. You should never be told you can't be helped. Something can always be done. Every person has a right to be heard and has a right to make decisions and things that affect their lives. Thank you.
Alex Rolimi. How do you balance the need for more affordable housing while still managing the overgrowth of high-rise apartment buildings? How do we stop the middle class from being priced out of Revere?
Great questions. Well, I stated before, I'm more about fiscal responsibility. And fortunately, the last several years in Revere, we see all these high rises, but none of them are affordable. We need to implement policies that's going to help our seniors and our veterans so they can remain in Revere. And it is unfortunate we don't have policies like other cities and towns in Massachusetts that can implement like a percentage of affordability for the developers and the builders. So we need to make sure we have council at large that can advocate and do these policies. So anybody that wants to build in Revere, there has to be a percentage for affordability. Thank you.
Michelle Kelly. How do you balance the need for more affordable housing while still managing the overgrowth of high-rise apartment buildings? How do we stop the middle class from being priced out of Revere?
Thank you. So I think this is a great question because it's something that I'm deeply involved in because of my background with zoning. So I think over the past number of years, we've seen our zoning code be blatantly disregarded, and that's something that needs to stop. If we adhered to our zoning code, we would probably have more intact communities, more opportunities for the middle class, but yet we're seeing buildings go up where 2, 3, 4, 5 variances are being granted. It's my opinion that if a building needs that many variances, it shouldn't be built, okay? We need to invest in buildings and development that the community is behind. And I think we can do that by strictly adhering to our zoning code and still getting built what we need to get built. I know that the Affordable Housing Initiative was knocked down last year, I believe, or the year before. It was not passed, but it was felt that the council could have control over that themselves and do that by a case-by-case basis. I would feel more comfortable if something more concrete was in place myself to allow for some confidence that people could have regarding affordable housing and not be so unsure about it that it's a case-by-case basis. So I do think we have to bring that back and look into some more across-the-board concrete ways of bringing affordable housing back into play. Thank you.
Bob Haas III. How do you balance the need for more affordable housing while still managing the overgrowth of high-rise apartment buildings? How do we stop the middle class from being priced out of Revere?
We need to focus on smart development here in Revere with a mix of affordable housing / senior housing and a focus on businesses. The last 2 weeks I've had 2 seniors come up to me. Their rent at Rumney Flats went up $200, or will go up $200 as of January 1st. It seems a number of seniors have been priced out the last couple months, even the last year or so. We have to work with developers to make sure that there's senior housing, affordable housing, and focus on getting some businesses in there. And we can do that as a council. We shouldn't let our seniors get priced out of the homes that they love, even the apartments that they have grown to love for many years. We need to work together to focus on senior housing and affordable housing and housing for veterans as well. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our question and answer period. You guys are not wordy at all. You're very quick, so you should all be able to watch the Celtics game by the end of this. So I appreciate it. We're going to do a closing statement by each one of the candidates. We'll start with Stephen Damiano Jr.
Thank you again for the opportunity to come before you as a candidate for office. My hope is that I have proven that I am deeply committed to the future of our beloved city. In my closing remarks, I need to emphasize a crucial issue that affects us all. There are those among us that are profiting from the overdevelopment with no real investment besides their own pockets, while the rest of us bear the consequences. Well, to these individuals, I have a resounding message from the rest of us. You are outnumbered. The heart of Revere beats within the everyday lives of its residents, not within the pocketbook of a privileged few. We, the people who cherish the city as our home, far exceed those who prioritize profit over our well-being. As your candidate, I pledge to protect the essence of Revere, its character, its communities, its people. I am dedicated to ensuring responsible development that aligns with the interests and the value of our residents. Together, we can create a city where every one of us can flourish, not just a select few. I ask for your support and one of your 5 votes to make Revere a place that truly serves all its inhabitants. Let us send a powerful message to those who prioritize profit over people. The residents of Revere are united, and we will always come first. This is my home. This is your home. This is our future. Thank you.
Bob Haas III.
Although this is my first time running for office, it's fair to say that politics has been a huge part of my life for as long as I can remember. I have a great love for this city and its people, whether it's working with seniors or coaching T-ball. I am always there to help and, more importantly, listen. Throughout this process, I feel like I have proven I'm more than a familiar name. I have seen firsthand just what it takes to be truly committed to this city. I have a strong legacy to live up to, but I know I have my own legacy to build, and I'm prepared to do just that. I would be incredibly honored to be considered for one of your 5 votes for Councilor at Large on Election Day. Thank you to the Beachmont VFW for hosting this event, Jason for moderating, everyone in attendance, and all the people watching at home. Thank you.
Juan Jaramillo. I'll pronounce it right one of these times.
You
Juan.
got
I'm
it.
trying.
Don't worry about it. Hopefully you'll be pronouncing it for at least 2 more years while I'm on the council, right? Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you to the guys at the VFW and the ladies at the VFW who put this together, and thank you for your service. Thank you for those at home who are investing their time in democracy by watching this forum. I am running because our city needs some serious solutions. Many of the people I grew up with, many of your family members, can no longer afford to live in this city. My entire campaign has focused on making this city for working class Revere by working class Revere. As a proud union member and a proud union leader, we will achieve that. We will achieve that by ensuring that the 411 not only stays until 2025, but that it's one of the pilot-free bus lines for our city and our senior citizens. For zoning reform, so we do have a streamlined process to create affordability in our city. For childcare, as I've mentioned before, to remove obstacles for seniors who have invested in our community for generations by buying their home here, and removing those obstacles so they get an automatic tax rebate because they have believed in our city. There's no need to give them more obstacles. That's why I'm running for office, to keep Revere a working class city by working class people. Number 5 on the ballot, Juan Pablo Jaramillo. Thank you so much.
Michelle Kelly.
Hi. I want to thank everyone again tonight, those in attendance and those watching at home. Everyone is here or tuning in because we all want Revere to be better. My campaign isn't about headlines, being an attention getter, or being in the spotlight all the time. It's about you. It's about giving you a voice. It's about your quality of life. It's about making sure your best interests are protected and served at all times. It's about bringing awareness of the issues to you so that you have a voice at City Hall. I got involved because my neighbors and I didn't like the way the city was being run, and because we felt that decisions were being made on our behalf, in our name, with our tax dollars, but without adequate input from us, from you. And that's democracy. It's about caring enough to get involved. It's about listening to what your neighbors say and stepping up. I got involved because I didn't like the way decisions about the biolab were made without adequate due diligence and full transparency. Because I didn't like the way I saw seniors being treated, the way residents didn't have a say in the way out-of-town developers were building in their own neighborhoods. I got involved because it became evident to me that the residents need a voice. And we need a neighborhood watch approach that will look out for the best interest and the quality of life of all residents of Revere. And I've stayed involved because I know I can be your voice on the City Council, and most importantly, because your voice does matter. It matters to me, and it should matter to everyone at City Hall. Thank you for all the support over the last 6 months. I've lived in Revere my whole life, and I love it, but I love it in a different way now. Now that I've had the opportunity to hear all your stories and concerns, it's only intensified my commitment to serve as your voice. Thank you for your time. I humbly and respectfully ask for your vote. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Don Martelli.
21 years ago tomorrow, it was raining cats and dogs. Why do I know that? It's my anniversary. I was waiting for that beautiful woman over there to marry me. And 21 years fast forward, we have 2 daughters we've raised in the school system, whose birthday is also tomorrow, Jordan. Happy birthday. We built a life here. We've coached, we volunteered, trash pickup days. We have volunteered our time over and over again, PTOs, field hockey, you name it, we've done it. And frankly, I didn't want to do this. It was my kids that asked me to. And I said, what kind of example would I be setting if I didn't give this a shot, win or lose? I think it's up to me to give it a shot. I think my business experience, the fact that I'm trained to ask questions and get answers to those questions that people have as a reporter and as a person who runs a multi-million-dollar business who has experiences outside of the 02151, I want to bring that business acumen and the no BS approach, no politics, common sense to the city council chambers. And I would be proud to serve with any one of these fine young men and Michelle on Zoom if I am so humbled to be elected. So 1E5 Martelli in November 7th. Thank you very much.
Anthony Parziali.
I think by now everybody knows why I'm running for office. It's for you. It's for the people. And what does that mean, putting the people first? It means taking action. So, for example, at the Satter House, they wanted to keep bus 411. I went directly to the board of directors. I spoke in front of all 12 of them. I went directly to them. And we got to put off for another 2 years. On Oak Island, they wanted the parking situation switched. They switched it back to just overnight parking. I went to bat for them and I got it switched back to resident-only parking. On my street, they wanted to put an unwanted development and my neighborhood didn't want it. And I already told you guys what I did. I fought tooth and nail to get rid of it. On the other side of where I live, they wanted to add a 3rd floor to a 2-story building. I went to the ZBA, I spoke against it, and I fought it, and it didn't happen. I show up to every ZBA meeting except for tonight because I had to be here. I go to all the conservation committees. I go to every meeting that happens in this city because it's important to me to make sure that someone is there to represent the people that are sitting there. It's not enough to use words and to say this is what you're going to do. You got to do it. You got to step up. You got to do it. You can't just say, I'm going to send a motion to the State House and say, we're not in favor of this. You got to show up at the State House and make sure they do something about it. That's why I'm here. I am here because I get things done. I don't care if your TV falls off your wall at 8 o'clock at night and you call me, which happened at the Satter House, and I went right over and I took care of it. I don't care if you call me at 4:30 in the morning because your basement flooded. I go right over there and I wasted I don't want to say wasted, I got rid of my campaign. I put Saber in front of me. I raised him with the help of all you guys. I put my selfish interest ahead of it. Bottom line, guys, I'm here for you. I have your back, 150%.
Alexander Alibi.
Again, thank you, Revere TV. Thank you, the Beachmont VFW, for hosting this. Thank you to our elected officials that show up today, and thank you to the residents that show up in person and to the viewers today. Thank you. In closing, I want to express my sincere commitment to our vibrant and diverse community here in Revere. As a councilor at large, my primary focus is to serve you, the residents, and work tirelessly to address your concerns, improve the quality of life in our city, and ensure Revere remains a place we're all proud to call home. I firmly believe that by coming together, we can face any challenges, preserve the values that makes our neighborhood special, and create opportunities to the next generations. It will be my honor to present you and encourage open dialogue, active engagement, and collaborations among all community members. Revere future is bright. I will support, with your support, we can make it brighter. On or before November 7th, I humbly ask you one of your 5 votes, and thank you.
Mark Silvestri.
Thank you all for being here tonight. As we close out this forum, I want to express my gratitude to the VFW, Revere TV, our moderators, our distinguished guests. It has been an absolute privilege and an honor to be here with you tonight. I am truly humbled and honored to serve the people of Revere as your city councilor. We are undoubtedly in challenging times, and we find ourselves But I firmly believe that working together, we can overcome any obstacles that come our way. I'm committed to collaborating with every individual who calls Revere home in order to create a better and possible living for all of us. Revere is like any other place. It has its share of issues. We're not a perfect place. We have imperfections, but those imperfections is what makes this city perfect for me. I love Revere. I love serving the people of Revere. I will come to work every day. I'll show up to make sure that you all have a brighter future. And that's how I mean it. I won't come pick up your trash, but I'll show up, I'll answer your calls, and I will fight for you at City Hall. Dom, I too have an anniversary tomorrow, so we celebrate a special day. I humbly ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you, God bless, and have a great night.
Tony Zambuto.
I first, I first want to apologize for my voice, but I knew if I didn't come here, I'd regret it. The good news about being around as long as I have been is I'm an open book. People know what I do. There's no bull crap. You know, I tell you the truth. It's not always popular to tell the truth because I have to tell people something they don't want to hear sometimes. But that's what I do. It's common sense. It's fiscal responsibility. It's trusted experience. We're going to have 3 new city councilors at large. There's got to be someone as an anchor. I like to think that's who I am. And, I'll continue to fight for the taxpayer. Nobody can ever say I don't do that. Please keep the voice of reason on the Revere City Council and give me one of your 5 votes. Anthony T. Zambuto, second name on the ballot. I want to thank you and God bless.
I'd like to thank all the candidates for agreeing to participate in this town hall. I'd like to thank the Beachmont VFW and Revere TV on putting this on. I think it was a great experience. Thank everybody who showed up in person and everybody who watched this or will be watching in the future. Thank Bob Upton from Revere Beach and Denise Boucher who paints these beautiful pictures for us. Hopefully you guys all learned something from it. This will end this portion of it. For the people that are still here, there'll be a meet and greet with the candidates, and also the mayoral candidates will be here shortly. Thank you very much and have a great night.